let me take you on a journey. Not just through words, but through your memories, your battles, and the powerful story of your rise. From the very beginning, you were the underdog, the outcast, the one they overlooked. In classrooms, at family gatherings, even among so-called friends, they didn't see you for who you truly were. They only saw the surface, a child who seemed quiet, too soft, or too strange to fit in their world. But what they missed, what they couldn't comprehend, was the depth of your spirit, the resilience of your soul, and the fire God placed within you. Do you remember those childhood days? You walked into rooms where people spoke over you as if your voice didn't matter. You sat at tables where others whispered behind your back, treating you as if you didn't belong. Even at home, some of you faced parents who couldn't see your light, who tried to mold you into someone else, suppressing your uniqueness because they feared what they didn't understand. It felt lonely, didn't it? As if you were carrying the weight of the world on shoulders too young to bear it. But even then, God was with you. Even in those silent tears and unanswered prayers, He was planting seeds of greatness. They mocked you for dreaming too big, for thinking differently, for walking a path they couldn't understand. They tried to clip your wings before you even learned how to fly. But chosen ones, listen carefully. God didn't create you to fit in. He created you to stand out, to rise above, and to soar where others only dream of reaching. And now they're beginning to see it. The ones who underestimated you, who thought they had you figured out, are starting to feel the weight of their mistake. Let's talk about those people who thought they held the reins of your life. They believed they could dictate your story, manipulate your moves, and control your outcomes. They saw you as a pawn in their game, a piece they could move at their convenience. But here's the irony. They never realized that while they were busy setting up traps, you were silently watching, learning, and growing. Every word they spoke, every plan they devised, every act of deceit, they all played right into the design God had for you. They thought they were winning, but in truth, they were walking right into a plan they couldn't see. They were so consumed with their own desires for power and control that they never stopped to consider that God was in control the entire time. The traps they set for you, those became their own undoing. The lies they told to hurt you. They became chains that bound them instead. And you, yes, you, didn't need to fight dirty or stoop to their level. You didn't need to shout or retaliate because your silence, your patience, your faith was louder than any words you could have spoken. They thought your quietness was weakness, but it was strength. They thought your kindness was naivety, but it was divine wisdom. And now, as they look at you standing tall, rising above every obstacle, they can't help but recognize the truth. They never had control over you. They were never the puppet masters. They were the ones dancing on strings they couldn't see. You see, chosen ones, life has a funny way of revealing the truth in the end. Those who walk into your life thinking they hold all the power often find themselves powerless when faced with the greatness God placed within you. They wanted to keep you small, but you grew anyway. They tried to dim your light, but it only shone brighter. And now they're left watching as you rise above not just them, but every obstacle they placed in your path. Let's take a moment to reflect on how far you've come. Think about those days when you doubted yourself, when the words and actions of others made you question your worth. Think about the nights you cried out to God, asking Him why life felt so heavy, why people seemed so cruel. And now look at you. The strength you carry today wasn't handed to you. It was forged in the fire of every trial, every rejection, every betrayal. The wisdom you speak with now wasn't learned in books. It was earned through every experience where you had to pick yourself up and keep moving forward. They see it now, the strength in your eyes, the grace in your steps, the power in your presence. They see a glory they can't explain, a light they can't dim, and a resilience they can't break. And they wonder, how did you do it? How did the underdog, the outcast, the one they overlooked, become someone so unstoppable? The answer is simple. You walked with God. You let Him lead when you didn't know the way. You trusted Him when the path was dark and uncertain. You held on to His promises when the world tried to tell you otherwise. And now He's showing the world what happens when His chosen ones rise. Their realization cuts deeper than any wound. It's not just about losing control, it's about understanding they were never in control to begin with. They look back at every step they took, every decision they made, and see that it all led to the exact outcome you intended. They thought they were testing you, but they were the ones being tested. They thought they were keeping you at a distance, but they were the ones being kept on a string. And now, chosen ones, think about how this plays out in your life. How often have you been underestimated? How often have people walked into your world, confident they could manipulate you, only to find themselves ensnared in their own web of deceit? This isn't about revenge or pettiness. This is about showing the world the quiet strength that comes from walking with God. This is about standing firm in who you are, knowing that no one can take away the power that was placed within you. The game they thought they controlled begins to crumble. They see it slipping from their grasp, and with every moment, their confidence fades. They try to piece together where it all went wrong, but the truth is, it was never theirs to control. And as they realize this, you stand there, unscathed, stronger, wiser, and more aware of who you are. Chosen ones, there's a power in letting others underestimate you. There's strength in allowing them to believe they hold the upper hand, while you quietly hold the real power. They don't expect you to rise above their games. They don't expect you to see through their lies. But you do. You've seen it all before, and now you play the game with a wisdom that leaves them stunned. When the game ends, and they look back at every decision, every lie, every manipulation, they'll remember the sting of realizing they were never the masters. They were simply players on a board they didn't even know existed. And you, chosen one, were the master of that board all along. This isn't just about outplaying them, it's about the lessons they'll carry with them, because sometimes the only way people learn is through defeat. Sometimes they need to see the consequences of their own actions to understand the strength and resilience of someone they underestimated. And you? You walk away not with malice, but with the quiet satisfaction of knowing you didn't have to stoop to their level. You didn't have to manipulate or deceive. You simply let them be themselves, knowing it would lead them exactly where they needed to go. You are stronger for it, wiser, and more grounded in the truth of who you are. So, the next time someone steps into your life with games and tricks, remember this. They may think they're in control, but you know better. You've seen the game played out before, and you know that in the end, it's not about who plays the game. It's about who controls the board. Chosen ones, you are the masters of the board. Walk in that truth. Stand in that power. Let them play their games, knowing that in the end, it is you who holds the victory. Keep rising, keep standing, and keep proving that the strength of a chosen one is unmatched. The world will learn, one way or another, that you were never the underdog. They just never knew what you were capable of. And now, they do. So, let them watch. Let them marvel. Let them sit in the discomfort of their own underestimation. Because this is your season of rising. This is the time when everything they thought they knew about you shatters under the weight of your glory. And this is just the beginning. Chosen ones, remember this. You are not who you were. You are not the child who felt invisible, the teenager who felt misunderstood, or the adult who felt trapped. You are a warrior, a victor, a beacon of hope for others who feel as you once did. It's fascinating how some people step into your life with such arrogance, thinking they've already won the game. They believe their cleverness is unmatched, their control absolute, and their plans foolproof. But what they don't see, what they never account for, is the silent wisdom of the chosen one they are so determined to outmaneuver. Chosen ones, let's reflect for a moment. Think back to the times when they underestimated you, when their moves seemed calculated and their confidence unshakable. They thought they had you figured out, didn't they? They thought every push, every pull, every moment of manipulation would lead you exactly where they wanted. But what they failed to realize is that you've seen this before. You've walked through the fire of deceit, betrayal, and control, and emerged stronger every time. Every time they pushed and pulled, every time they tried to reel you in, and then let you go. They were not drawing you closer. No, they were entangling themselves in a web they didn't even realize you were weaving. They thought they were holding you in place. But in truth, you were keeping them exactly where you wanted. Their arrogance blinded them to the reality that while they believed they were orchestrating the game, they were merely playing their part in a plan far greater than their understanding. This is the power of a chosen one, to see beyond the surface, to anticipate every move and to guide even the most cunning manipulator into a trap of their own making. You've learned this lesson through years of trials. From the moments in childhood when you were underestimated, overlooked, and dismissed, you began to see patterns. You began to understand how people operate, how they mask their intentions with sweet words and calculated actions. But what they don't understand is that while they play games, you play the board. They thought they were untouchable, masters of manipulation, invincible in their deceit. But they underestimated the resilience of someone who has been through the storms of life, who has seen every trick, and who now stands unshaken by the schemes of others. Every word they spoke, every calculated move, every action meant to deceive, it all became part of the intricate design you allowed to unfold. And then the moment of realization comes. Oh, how it comes. They look around and suddenly see the walls closing in. The strings they thought they were pulling tangled around their own hands. They look at you, standing there with a calm smile, and it dawns on them. they've been outplayed. The one they thought they controlled, the one they believed was naive, was the one guiding them all along. Think back to the lessons life taught you. Those moments when you felt powerless, when people used you, underestimated you, and dismissed your strength. You didn't lash out. You didn't need to. Instead, you observed, you learned, you grew. And now, you stand with a quiet power that unnerves those who once thought they could control you.